If you're ready to go, we'll go ahead and get started. And we're going to start lying down today. A nice, cozy, simple corpse pose. Oh, and before you lie down, if you're using the music, I'm going to count it down in 1 second. Obviously, of course, it's up to you. I will press play in 1, 2, 3, go. And then you can gently make your way to a comfortable seat. Comfortable corpse pose. Taking your time, moving very gently with the body. However you make your way onto your spine. And once you get there right away, we're going to find that pressing into the elbows, very gently into the back of the head, lifting the chest so we can slide the shoulder blades together, and then releasing the heart space. Oh, Jeannot, my gosh, sorry. Jeannot, the dog, just came to join me and he completely scared me. Whew, okay, and then releasing the heart space down to the earth. And even just for me, I notice an immediate opening in the collarbones there, a release of the shoulders. We allow our heels to be completely relaxed to the floor, the arms to release by the side of the body. Close your eyes. And begin to make a connection to the breath here. Feel free, of course, to take a few open mouth exhales to really release any physical tension we're holding on to, any mental tension, and then allow the air to travel in and out through the nose. And as you breathe in, think about filling both the front body, which is the belly and the chest that rises, but also the back body. So kind of pressing the rib cage down into the floor. We're experiencing a 360-degree expansion of the ribs, of the lungs. And as you exhale, the body melts deeper towards the earth. We know that we're supported here by our mat. And today, our intention for our practice, we're going to begin a new Foundations of Yoga series that I know we've done before, but I think it's been a little bit of time. So we just finished up, I think last week we did our Niyama series. So I wanted to go through now the yamas. And of course, some weeks I skip for other intentions, but I thought today we would start with the first yama. And our yamas are duties or observances that we keep in order to coincide with the yoga philosophy towards the outside world. So niyama is a relationship with yoga philosophy that we're cultivating within ourselves. And our yamas is how we can relate to those around us. Our first yama is ahimsa, which is non-violence. Ahimsa means to cause pain, and the in the front of it negates that. And when we practice ahimsa, when we practice nonviolence, we are practicing love. We are practicing compassion. Of course, it's the obvious, don't kick anybody in the shins. Don't slap your quarantine buddy across the face when they make a huge mess in the kitchen again. But nonviolence comes in the practice of our words, making sure that, for example, we take the time to pause, to choose our reactions before we speak to another person, before we react to their words. Is what I'm saying a non-violent, compassionate thing to say. And when we practice ahimsa, it creates a mental strength. We're able to increase our willpower with that practice of pausing. We're able to increase our love for ourselves, our love for others. And on our yoga mat, physically, we can practice ahimsa, non-violence, with our bodies. Physically, that means not pushing our bodies to places that they don't want to go, not trying to force our bodies into stretches and postures we're not ready for. And it means when we speak to ourselves, when we use our words, we do so non-violently. So releasing any judgment we have of what our bodies should be doing, how it should look. Instead, being compassionate with ourselves on the mat and being compassionate with others. Non-violence can be, of course, when we're in a big yoga group, making sure we give everybody enough space. We don't bother our fellow yogis in any way. We don't cause any judgments in the yoga room. But for today, we're focusing on ourselves here, non-violence. So keeping that little practice in mind. We'll bring our right hand to our heart, our left hand to our belly, and we're going to take 3 really awesome deep breaths together. 4 counts in through the nose and 4 counts out. Beginning with an inhalation for 1, 2, 3, 4, and an exhalation for 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more times on your own. Lengthening the toes towards the end of the mat, maybe the crown of the head towards the back of the mat, pressing the shoulders away from the ears. And at that bottom of that last exhale, the eyes can stay closed, maybe, as we extend both the arms over our head to find a full body stretch. And then reach in any direction that feels good here. A movement that I like to make is almost as if I'm climbing a rope. So reaching above my head, laying on the floor, grabbing at an invisible rope, pulling it down. Left hand grabs, right hand grabs, moving the hips along with it. Create some good space in the body here. And then our next exhalation, we're going to grab the right knee into the chest, interlacing the hands on top of the right shin and creating a nice stretch in the right hip. So keeping the shoulders relaxed down away from the ears. When we lay down, we can tend to forget and they can get hunched up, but we still want to create space there. And maybe you choose to make some nice circles of the right ankle here in this moment. Both directions, wiggling around the toes. Take another deep breath in. And then we're going to find a stretch on the outside of our right hip, our figure 4 reposed pigeon leg, bending the left knee, placing the right ankle on top of the left knee, and interlacing the hands behind the left thigh, releasing the left toes, and pulling the legs towards the body. The right ankle stays active, right knee presses away. So we feel the stretch outside the right hip. And of course, we're still warming up. So we might not go as far as we would at the end of a practice here. Just creating a little bit of space. Take a nice deep breath in. And then you can send the right leg along the mat as you hug the left knee into the chest. And begin to make some circles of that left ankle in both directions. Maybe it feels good to hug the knee and very close to the body, or maybe it feels good to let gravity push down on the shin without pulling against it. Remember, we're practicing Ahimsa. We're not going to force and push and pull our bodies today. And then you can gently bend the right knee, placing the left ankle on top of the right knee, interlacing the hands behind the thigh, activating the left foot, pressing the left knee away, and gently pulling the right leg towards the upper body, feeling that lovely stretch outside the left knee. One more round of breath here. And then we're going to bring the hands behind the knees. And we're going to begin to rock a little bit up and down on the spine. And if it feels good, I'm going to invite you to really let your toes drop all the way back behind you without crunching the neck, but just finding a nice pressure on that space between the shoulder blades. So we're not trying to move into a traditional shoulder stand by any means, but just adding a little pressure on the shoulders there, a massage as we rock up and down. You can choose to hold for a breath or allow this rocking to be continual. And then with one momentum, we'll meet together in a comfortable seat, taking your time to ground into the sit bones, to cross your legs, observing which leg comes on top of the other here, allowing the shoulders to come over the sit bones, the hands to come onto the knees. You can allow the eyes to close for a moment. And we'll release our chin to our chest, starting with these super juicy, delicious neck rolls, breathing in the right ear, right shoulder. Exhale, allowing the head to release back. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. And exhale, chin releasing to the chest and moving once in the opposite direction. Gently with your breath, whatever rhythm feels good for you there. And then we're going to do it once more each side. See how much you can let those shoulders release so that there's really no tension there. Just a free roll of the head. Circle back towards the left. Take your time. And then lifting the chin parallel to the floor, will allow a breath in to guide the fingertips to either side of the body. Bring the hands up towards the sky. Press the hands together. Exhale, actively press the palms together. So creating a bit of warmth in the arms here as the thumbs connect towards the sternum in this Anjali Mudra. And we're going to move through that 2 more times. We breathe in, the arms come up towards the sky. And we exhale to actively press the hands together, allowing the shoulders to relax, the chin to come down towards the chest. One more time here. We breathe in and exhale, press the hands back towards the heart space. Beautiful. You can choose here to change the crossing of the legs if you like, if they feel a little bit stiff. And then find a gentle side body stretch. The left hand pressing next to the left hip, the right arm reaching up to the sky, shoulder plugging away from the ear, and exhale to pull the right arm over the right ear towards the left side of the room. And it feels good here. I mean, I'm not going to say it feels good. It feels good for me, at least, to really try to rotate up the heart space towards the sky. So we're always trying to create a shape of lengthening the collarbones rather than dropping them in towards each other. We can also release the left forearm down if we feel like we have enough space. Feeling this stretch from the right hip all the way through the right fingertips. And then inhale, back to center. The right hand will release next to the right hip. Left arm reaches to the sky and exhale, left fingertips towards the right side of the room. Plug the left shoulder away. Breathe deeply. Think about again the expansion of the rib cage on all sides. Think about rotating open the heart towards the sky. Left shoulder plugs away. Maybe the right forearm connects to the earth. One more beautiful breath here. And then inhale, we'll gently rise up, releasing the left arm down. Keep crossing the ankles, allowing the arms to come forward in front of us, meeting together in a tabletop pose. And then right away, we're going to allow our hips to sink back against the heels. So we come to sit on our heels, finding this seat on our knees. And gently bring the right arm across the chest. Catch a hold of the right arm with the left hand. Make some little circles of the right wrist here. Relax the shoulder. And while you're in this shape, maybe you move the head from side to side. So opening the left and right side of the neck. It's kind of hard to do two things at once here. For example, if you're making circles of the wrists, it becomes a little challenging to concentrate on the head moving back and forth, but we're just looking to how it feels to be simultaneously opening the shoulder, and then also if that helps us to enhance the space in the neck. And then you can release the right arm down. We're going to isolate the right shoulder. Inhale, bring the shoulder forward, up and back. And exhale, release the shoulder down. So the left shoulder is not doing anything. Once again, inhale forward, up, back, down. And then the opposite direction. Inhale, back, up, forward, exhale, down. One more circle that direction. Beautiful. And now tuck the toes if you wish. You can add this part if you like to do that. Creating that opening in the bottoms of the feet there. And we'll move into the other shoulder as the left arm comes across the body. You can close the eyes if that feels good or let them stay open. Whatever helps you to concentrate on the sensation in the left shoulder as you make some nice circles of the left wrist. And again, this is a good moment to practice Ahimsa. I notice for me, whenever I come into these kind of shapes, I'm yanking the left arm almost out of its socket, trying to press it into the chest. But what happens if you move non-violently? What happens if you gradually move into a deeper stretch? Maybe we don't need to go so far today. We make sure to use our breath to move. And maybe you add that movement of the head dropping from side to side. And then you can release both the arms. Right shoulder does nothing. Left shoulder moves forward, up, back, and down. Once again, this direction. And twice in the other direction. Back, up, forward, down. Beautiful. And now you can release the toes, coming forward onto all fours. It might feel good to give a gentle tap of the tops of the feet into the floor. And for a brief moment, we're going to stretch the toes out in the other way, simultaneously creating some intensity in the hips, pressing into all the fingers, and we lift the knees off the floor just a few centimeters. If that's too much in the ankles, you can keep the toes tucked, but if this feels okay, it's a nice stretch for the ankles. You can explore even lifting the knees a little bit higher to get that stretch, but we also want to make sure we're feeling that intensity in the core here, pulling the belly in towards the spine. One more breath in. Exhale, gently release the knees back down. We come into a tabletop and we're just going to take a few moments to explore here. Find what feels good in your body. Find what movements you enjoy making, what muscles might need a little extra attention. Notice if maybe the mind has wandered off, and bring it back around the breath. And then we're going to find some nice cat-cow movements. So coming to center, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Even here in this tabletop pose, notice what's happening with the collarbones. We want to press the heart space forward without dropping the chest down completely. So actually, let's take a moment to notice that difference. Press into the hands, pushing the shoulder blades away, keeping the neck long. And with your exhale, allow the chest to drop down, the shoulder blades coming together. And again, inhale, press into the hands, lift the chest, the back body. Exhale, drop the chest down. So we want to keep that pressing into the hands, inhaling to lift. We want to keep that space in the shoulder blades, but at the same time, pushing the shoulders back towards the hips so that we're not crunching the collarbones, so that the shoulders are rolled back and at the same time they're open. A lot going on. This tabletop pose can be deceptively simple. And then we're going to move into a cow pose, releasing the belly, lifting the hips. And now we really roll the shoulders back and shine the heart forward as the chin lifts, the throat opens up. And now we'll find our cat pose. So we'll allow the head to release and open up the shoulder blades, rounding the spine, dropping the tailbone down. And we don't need to go so far as to pull the chin up to the chest. The head is just released, so there's no tension in the neck, but we're allowing for that opening in the back of the shoulder blades. We'll move through 3 more times with the breath. Inhale, open the chest, and exhale to round. Twice more on your own. Incorporating that ujjayi breath that guides our movements. And at the bottom of the last exhale, we're going to come onto our fingertips. So we arrive to that last cat pose and really hollow out the armpits here. Let the head be heavy, crown of the head dropping towards the floor. The hips are directly over our knees, and our next exhalation, we'll walk the hands forward and find that soothing downward puppy that allows the chest to melt towards the earth. So the hips stay lifted, forehead is down. You're more than welcome to maybe rock the head back and forth. Part of this ahimsa is cultivating compassion. So almost, what is the opposite of violence? What are the little movements, the little details you can change that really shows you're taking care of your body? Finding little moments of self-massage is a good example. Take one more breath here. And we'll meet together in our first downward facing dog. So take your time arriving here. The fingers spread wide, pressing into the hands, tucking the toes. And our hips lift up. And once again, feel free to make this a moment of exploratory movement. As you're exploring, make sure that those hands are shoulder width distance. There's so much space between all of our fingers, and we can press into all the different parts of the hand. So pressing into the knuckles, into the fingertips, the thumbs, the pinky fingers, so we can relieve that intensity in the wrist crease. No tension in the neck. Head is hanging heavily. And again, finding the space between the shoulders and the ears. So we're not hunching up. Instead, we're finding actively space there. We might make a deep bend to the knees to really lift the hips as high as we can. And then once again, press the heels down towards the floor. It might be helpful to keep the knees bent in the beginning as we continue to find space. Find another beautiful round of breath here. And then our next inhale will begin a gentle walk to the top of our mat, our feet taking little steps, creating even more space behind the legs. And arriving in a forward fold, the feet are hip width distance, knees bend. Grabbing opposite elbows, we move from side to side. No tension in the neck. Notice if there's any tension you can release in the face, in the jaw, or in the forehead. And then we're going to release the fingertips back down, and we're going to find a little twist here. So nice for our spinal health, taking care of the whole spine. Bending the right knee, pressing into the right fingertips, and just bringing that left arm up towards the sky. If it feels okay for the neck, the gaze comes up to the left thumb. Otherwise, it can stay down towards the earth, but we're trying to open up the heart. And then release the left fingertips down, bend the left knee. Inhale, the right arm will come up to the sky. Nice juicy twist. And then exhale, the right knee down. Knees bent, one vertebrae at a time. Ground into the feet, finding a heaviness in the upper body. We'll rise all the way up to standing. Chin is the last to come up, and we're going to find kind of a free, loosey-goosey movement here. So keep the knees really nice and bent. Inhale, the arms are going to come up, and we're going to allow our upper body to swing forward. So breathe in, lift the arms, open mouth, exhale, fold, inhale up, exhale, swing. Last time, inhale up, exhale. Just allowing our bodies to relax, to remind ourselves this can be fun. We're here to stretch and release. Our big toes come together. There's a little space between our heels as we activate the legs and press the tailbone down. Pull the belly in towards the spine. Relax the shoulders, the fingertips towards the floor. Close the eyes for a moment. Keeping the eyes closed, we're going to find 3 rolls with both of our shoulders. Inhale, shoulders forward, up, exhale, press them back and down. Twice more, and I invite you to keep the eyes closed to really connect to the sensation of all the different muscles and bones and joints in the shoulders. Last time. Beautiful. From the top of our mat, I'm going to bring us into 2 balancing poses. Our first is going to be our eagle. So we've done this already this week, but eagle's so good for all the joints in the neck, the arm, the hips. We take a little bend to the knees, and we're going to, the hands can start at the hips, begin by grounding into the left foot. Keep that left leg nice and strong. Weight distributed all along the left foot, and then we bring our right knee up towards the chest, creating enough space to wrap it around the left leg, and maybe the foot stays on the outside of the left shin, or maybe it comes inside. Neither is better than the other. We take a moment to make sure both of our knees are pointing forward, the tailbone's pointing down, so we haven't arched our back. Core active, arms extend to either side of the room, and then we'll bring our left arm underneath our right. Option 1, you can catch a hold of opposite elbows here. Option 2, maybe the backs of the hands come together. Option 3, maybe the palms connect. So it's very challenging here to simultaneously shine the heart forward and also roll the shoulders back. Our shoulders are trying to come together in the front because our hands are interlaced there, but press that heart space forward. And the more we actively press into the hands, the more we're giving the opportunity for the joints to open. Same with the legs, pressing the legs against each other, opening up those hips, pressing into the fascia. And we want to make sure the hands stay away from the face. Take another breath in And exhale, gently unravel here, releasing the left foot next to the right, finding a little bit of wiggle and movement. And now we're going to move into our figure four. So kind of the same thing we've done on our spine, that lovely opening in the hips here. We're going to start with a little bend to the knees, the hands in Anjali Mudra at the heart. So hands together in prayer at the heart. Right, once again, weight coming into that left foot. And our right ankle is going to come on top of the left knee. Right foot stays nice and active. From here, we're sinking the hips down as if we're moving into the chair pose, one-legged chair pose. So the right knee is nice and bent, shoulders melting down. And from here, you can choose to stay exactly where you are. The more you bend that left knee, the deeper you'll feel that opening in the right hip. Or you can explore bringing the chest, the forearms towards the right shin, and then releasing the fingertips to the earth. So it becomes kind of a forward fold here. Find what feels best. Make sure you're enjoying that opening outside the right hip. We're going to take one more breath here. And then we're going to come up just as carefully as we went in, hands to the heart. Gently rise all the way as you straighten the right leg, release the right foot down next to the left foot. So crossing the right knee over the left knee. So the outside of the feet are touching, ankles crossed, right foot is on the left side. Inhale, arms reach up. And exhale, we're going to fold over the legs in this modified forward fold where you'll find a deeper stretch for the left leg. Let the shoulders be heavy and the head be relaxed. It's very strange to cross the ankles like this. Even though we have 2 feet on the floor, we feel a sense of unbalance. See if you can work on grounding into both those feet, knowing that they're stable, they're strong. One more breath here. And then slowly we're going to rise back up. Uncross the feet, and this time as the hands come to the hips, we're going to move the weight into the right foot. So roll the shoulders down, take a moment to prepare for our eagle, a little bend to the knees, and then we wrap that left leg, bring it up towards the chest and wrap it around the right leg. Sink into the hips, keeping the knees pointing forward. And then when the legs are stable, the arms extend. And the right arm comes underneath the left. Finding whatever bind, whatever level of bind feels good here. And we're not forcing the body today. However far the legs and arms want to go in the bind is exactly where they need to be. Any variation is still opening up the joints. Still getting the benefits of this balance. Core nice and active to help the stability. Last breath in. And exhale, we'll release. Left foot releases next to the right. Enjoy some nice wiggles, little shake in the body. Hands come to the heart. A little bend in the knees. And then we carefully guide the left ankle on top of the right knee. Keep the left foot flexed to protect the left knee and sink down into the hips. Feeling that awesome opening outside the left hips. You're totally welcome to stay here. If you'd like to explore a little fold, you can carefully allow the fingertips to connect to the floor. Allow the head to release. Stay grounded in that left foot. One more full round of breath here. And then we'll release. We'll come out the same way we came in. Hands to the heart space, carefully rising up. And as you release the arms, you can bring the left foot outside the right foot, ankles crossed. As we inhale, the arms reach up to the sky. And as we exhale, we fold over the legs. Relax the neck. Feel that deeper stretch behind the right leg this time. Last full round of breath here. And then you can press the hands into the floor. Step both feet to the back into a downward facing dog. And we're going to take 5 breaths of stillness in our down dog. A posture that we rush through sometimes, that we take for granted, but is a great resting pose, is something that we want to keep our integrity about the shape. So notice here, after we've gone through some stretching, if the heels can connect more deeply to the floor, if the spine feels a little bit longer, if maybe you've been able to create some space in the mind. And then we're going to gently release the knees to the earth. Allow the big toes to come together, the hips to travel to the heels. In a child pose, forehead to the earth, arms extended. And we're going to add a little shoulder opening to this, lifting the head, coming onto the fingertips. And we'll slide the left arm underneath the right and then release the upper body back down onto the left shoulder. And then the right arm can stay extended, or it can bind, catching a hold the inside of the left hip. Whatever feels better, taking a few deep breaths. And then we'll switch sides. Left arm will extend long, and the right arm will slide underneath the left. We'll release the weight onto the right shoulder. Release the side of the head onto the floor. Left arm can stay extended long in front of you or wrap around towards the right hip. And then we extend the right arm long. We're going to travel to a tabletop pose. We're going to take 5 full breaths of plank strengthening before we move into some heart opening. So press into the floor, step both feet to the back, and hold your plank. 5 breaths in our full plank. Pressing into all 10 fingers, activating the belly so the hips, shoulders, and heels are all in line. Maintaining that beautiful calmness in the breath. Last inhale. And then 5 breaths in our side plank, our left hand underneath the face. We find the knife edge of our feet and bring the right arm to the sky. Play around here. You could make some circles with the right arm. You can drop the left knee to the floor. You can lift the right leg up. 3 more breaths, and whatever you want this side plank to be, lifting the hips nice and high. Last inhale. And then the right hand will come down to replace the left. We find the opposite knife edge of the feet as the left arm reaches up and we lift the hips. Again, play around, explore. You can make circles of the arm. You can drop the right knee down, finding the ability to find what feels good for you. And then the left hand will release to the mat. The knees will connect to the floor. And we'll lower the upper body to the earth, where we will meet in a Sphinx pose. Shoulders over the elbows. Fingers spread wide, heart pulling forward. We'll spend a few breaths here, pressing the pubic bone down towards the floor without clenching those butt muscles too much. We're just trying to, there's a difference between pressing the tops of the thighs down, tops of the feet and the pubic bone, between that and squeezing all the muscles. So see if you can find that balance. And then exploring the space you have in the lower spine. You can stay here in a Sphinx, or if you want to move a little bit into a seal, we press into the hands to lift the elbows. And if the lower back is really unhappy about that, then just come right back down to your Sphinx. But if this feels okay, then we're going to take 3 more breaths. Last breath. And as you exhale, make a little pillow of the hands. The left ear comes to the mat. We close the eyes. And maybe move the hips from side to side, releasing the lower spine. And then we'll bring our forehead back down to the earth as we bring our arms by the side of the body. And we're going to find our locust pose. So we're going to lift the arms, the shoulders, the feet, the quads off the floor, taking flights, opening up those collarbones, bringing the gaze up to the sky. We exhale completely and inhale, take flight to lift. So again, it's a matter of pressing that pubic bone down. See if you can bring the thighs off the floor just a tiny little bit more. Without crunching the back of the neck, we find a way to lengthen the throat, to bring the gaze up towards the ceiling. Last breath in. And exhale, the hands release, and we bring the right side of the face onto the hands. And maybe move the hips back and forth. One more breath here. And coming back to center, forehead on the floor, bend the knees. Our final is our bow pose. We catch the outside of our ankles as we flex the feet. Exhale completely. And as we breathe in, we kick into the hands to lift the heart space, to lift the thighs. This feels so good in the shoulders. And if you want, you can incorporate a rocking up and down on the belly, a little massage in the organs, but maybe it feels better to be stable today. Lift the thighs just a tiny bit more, shine the heart forward. Last breath in. And exhale, release it all down, press into the hands. And we're going to come to a child pose, but this time with the knees together, hips to the heels, belly to the thighs, and arms by the side of the body. Letting the spine bend in the opposite way, letting the shoulders hunch over the legs. We'll find 3 more beautiful deep breaths here, and with each inhalation, We once again notice that 360 expansion of the torso. And as we exhale, the body becomes heavy, releasing onto the knees. We stack the spine, crossing the ankles, nice and slow. Extending the arms forward. And we're going to find our Paschimottanasana. So the big toes will stay together, a little space between the heels. Shoulders over the hips. We inhale to lift the arms up and exhale to melt forward. And maybe here we catch a hold of our toes or our ankles or our calves. Wherever our hands land is where they need to be today. This is a place where a lot of people tend to move into a place of judgment, of violent thoughts to their legs. But we want to be practicing compassion with ourselves, knowing that each day we show up to our mat is another opportunity to create space in all these muscles. Last breath here. And then we'll gently rise up. We're going to plant the feet, bending the knees, and we're going to bring the arms back behind us, moving into a reverse tabletop pose. So pressing into the feet, pressing into the hands. We inhale to lift the hips so that they're in line with the knees and shoulders. If this feels okay, you can gently drop the head back. Otherwise, you can keep the chin towards the chest. And if you're feeling really adventurous, the legs can be extended long here, as long as the feet are on the floor and the hips can stay nice and lifted. But if it feels better in the shoulders to find this reverse tabletop, we'll stay one more breath. And then we're going to find a little fun swing. Inhale, lifting the hips, and exhale, pressing the hips back between the arms. Inhale, the hips come up. Exhale, the hips come back between the arms, and then release the hips to the floor. Soles of the feet come together. Knees open like a book. Take a moment to press the thumbs into the bottoms of the feet. Inhale, we'll open up the heart space, find some length in the spine. And exhale, we'll melt forward over the legs in our Baddha Konasana. So our lovely opening for our hips. Allowing the upper body to be heavy. The crown of the head to drop towards the feet. If you notice that it feels better to move the feet closer to the hips or further away, then make that choice. And then try to settle into a place of stillness. Allowing each exhalation to be an opportunity to release the upper body even more heavily. Be closing the eyes. And then inhale, gently stacking the spine. You can use the hands to close the knees as you plant the feet in front of you. And begin to release one vertebrae at a time onto the floor. Take your time. Draw the knees into the chest and allow the body to rock from side to side. Allowing the neck to drop from side to side as well, if that feels good. And then allowing the knees to drop to the floor on the right side. Extending the arms, gazing over the left shoulder. Making your way into that spinal twist. All the muscles of the face are relaxed. And as you breathe in with those 300-degree upper body expansion breaths, you might notice that we can move a little more deeply into a twist that feels like it's opening up the shoulders even more, all along the spine. And as we exhale, we can settle into that space. And then we'll let a breath in, bring the knees back to center. And a breath out, drop to the left, the gaze to be over that right shoulder. Eyes to be closed. Two more breaths here. And then breathing in, we'll come back to center and we'll find a happy baby before our final relaxation. So just grab the outside of the feet, pull the knees down towards the floor, the shoulders down towards the floor, rock from side to side, bringing in a little joy, a little fun, a little carelessness. And then the knees will draw back into the chest as we wrap the arms around them and we lift the forehead up to the knees and we can activate all these muscles, squeezing the face, the fingers, the toes, and the core, taking a beautiful deep, deep, deep breath in and a complete exhale to melt into your final Savasana. Of course, feel free to take a moment to put on a sweater, grab a blanket or some socks, turning your space into a calm, zen, peaceful environment. And then once you've arrived back on the floor, you can make sure that the eyes are closed, that the legs are splayed out heavily at the bottom of the mat, that the arms are released. Maybe take that moment to lift the chest like we did in the beginning and then drop the heart space back down on top of the shoulder blades. As you remember that there is nowhere else you need to be. You remember there's nothing else you need to be doing but absorbing the benefits of your practice. Enjoying a few moments of calm and of peace. You can choose to stay exactly where you are for as long as time allows. Or if you'd like to come back with me, you can allow an inhalation to inspire some movement by lifting the belly and the chest. Maybe finding a little wiggle of the toes, dropping the head from side to side, and eventually extending the arms back behind you, pointing the toes and reaching the body in both directions, ending our class how we started it with this awesome side body stretch. Choosing to restart your day and your week with this brand new energy. And then an exhale can curl into the right side of the body. A safe, comfortable fetal position where we'll practice one of our most important muscles, our muscle of gratitude. Feeling grateful here for our beautiful Mother Earth, the only home we have that we must protect. Grateful for the people here who we love, who bring us joy. And grateful for yourself for taking time out of a weird, chaotic, stressful week for the health of your body and your mind. With this gratitude filling your heart, you can gently press back to a comfortable seat. How kind can you be with your body here? How slowly can you go? The eyes stay closed, the legs can cross, the hands can travel to the heart. And we touch base with our intention of Ahimsa, nonviolence. There are so many different ways to practice this yama, and I invite you to think about how you can incorporate this into the people that you come across, whether it's on Zoom or in real life. In what ways can we practice being nonviolent to others that's not just simply being physically nonviolent, but also in the way we speak and interact with the people around us? We'll take our final breath together, inhaling to bring our thumbs to our third eye. And exhale, we'll bow forward as one. Namaste.